Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're diving into your requests to learn more about creativity today.
Sounds fun.
We're going to be exploring this really cool idea of slow motion multitasking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's the idea that spreading your focus across different projects over time can actually make you more creative. We've got a TED Talk by Tim Harford, who makes a really compelling case for this.
Yeah.
And we've got some insights from Rick Rubin and David Eagleman about the nature of creativity itself.
I'm excited. So where do we start?
Well, Harford starts off with a super powerful example.
Okay.
Einstein's miracle year in 1905.
Einstein's miracle year.
Oh.
I've heard of that.
He published 4 groundbreaking papers that year.
Really?
Revolutionizing physics.
Wow. 4.
Yeah, it's hard to even understand how someone could be that productive in such a short amount of time.
That's true.
It kind of makes you wonder, was this just Einstein being a one-of-a-kind genius?
Right.
Or is there actually something that we can learn from how he worked?
Yeah, I mean, can we all be Einsteins?
Well, that's exactly what Harford tries to figure out.
Okay.
He doesn't just stop at Einstein.
Okay.
He brings in research from Bernice Ideson, who studied 40 leading scientists, including Nobel Prize winners.
Wow.
And guess what? The most consistently creative scientist in her study switched research topics, an average of 43 times in their first 100 papers.
43 times. That seems like a lot.
Right. It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see how this slow-motion multitasking thing could actually work.
Yeah, I get it.
But why would switching between projects make someone more creative?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, Harford has 3 reasons why.
Okay, why am I?
First, he says, it makes you change your perspective all the time. And that helps you have those aha moments.
Like you see things in a new way.
Exactly. Things you wouldn't see if you were just focused on one problem.
I can see that.
Think about Archimedes in the bathtub.
Oh, yeah. Eureka.
Right. He wasn't even thinking about that problem at the time.
He was just taking a bath.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
Like taking a step back from a painting.
Right. Get a fresh view.
Exactly.
Okay, what's the second reason?
Harford calls it cross-training your mind.
Cross-training, like at the gym.
Kind of, but for your brain.
Okay.
He talks about a study where med students took an art history class.
Okay.
And they got way better at diagnosing eye diseases.
Wait, really? Art history helped them be better doctors?
I know, right? It's pretty amazing.
How does that even work?
Well, the study found that analyzing art sharpened their observation skills.
Oh.
And that helped them in a totally different field.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like working out different mental muscles.
Yeah.
The strength you build in one area. It helps you in other ways you wouldn't expect.
I like that.
So it's not just switching between any old projects,
Right.
It's about picking projects that use different parts of your brain.
That makes total sense.
What was the last reason again?
We were on the second one, cross-training the mind.
Oh, right.
So what's number 3?
Oh, this one's all about creative blocks.
Creative blocks. Like writer's block.
Exactly. When you're stuck on a project and can't seem to make any progress.
Ugh, I hate that feeling.
Well, Harford says that having other projects allows you to switch gears, avoid frustration, and then come back to the first project later with fresh eyes.
That makes sense.
It's like letting your subconscious mind work on a problem in the background.
I can see that.
Even Einstein took breaks from relativity to work on other scientific puzzles.
Wow.
So instead of getting stuck staring at the same problem for hours, you can actually make progress on something else.
Right.
And then circle back later.
That's such a relief.
I know, right? We've all been there.
Totally. So are there any real-world examples of this in action?
Oh, absolutely. Harford dives into Charles Darwin's process.
Charles Darwin. Evolution Darwin.
The one and only.
Wow.
And it's fascinating.
Okay, tell me.
Darwin's notebooks show that he was juggling multiple projects for decades.
Like what?
Well, obviously his work on evolution, but also these detailed studies of barnacles.
Barnacles.
Yeah. And even earthworms.
Earthworms? What was he doing with earthworms?
He was studying them for 44 years.
44 years? That's longer than I've been alive.
Right. And he even roped in his son, William, to help him.
What did William do?
He was a subject for Darwin's observations on child development.
Wow, Darwin was a busy guy.
He was. And it's so interesting to think about how those projects might have actually influenced each other.
You mean like the earthworms and evolution?
Exactly. Like maybe his observations of earthworms and their impact on the soil, influenced his thinking about the gradual changes that drive evolution.
Whoa, that's deep.
Right. So slow motion multitasking isn't just randomly switching between projects. It's about building a diverse portfolio of interests that can inspire each other and lead to new insights.
That's really cool.
Like a cross-pollination of ideas.
Exactly. So Darwin's showing us how following your curiosity, even if it takes you down these different paths, can lead to unexpected connections and breakthroughs.
That's the beauty of it.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure for your brain.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how do we actually make this work in our own lives?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right, because it sounds great in theory.
But how do you actually manage all these different projects?
And not go crazy in the process.
Right.
That's what we'll dive into next.
Stay tuned.
It's like having this mental compost heap, right? Where ideas can decompose and blend together.
Yeah.
And eventually they, fertilize something new.
That's a great analogy.
But it does kind of make you wonder,
What is that?
How do you keep all these projects organized?
Right. It's like, it seems like you'd have to be super organized by nature to pull this off.
Well, choreographer Twyla Tharp has a system that's surprisingly low-tech.
Okay.
And it might work for anybody.
Really? What is it?
She uses cardboard boxes.
Cardboard boxes?
Cardboard boxes.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
I know, right?
Tell me more.
So each project gets its own box.
Okay.
And she keeps everything related to that project in the box.
Got it.
Notes, sketches, whatever.
Makes sense.
And when she's ready to switch gears, she literally moves from one box to another.
So it's like physically separating your mental space.
Exactly.
To keep everything from getting jumbled up.
Yeah, it's like creating boundaries, you know?
Yeah.
And it signals to your brain like, okay, we're working on this now.
I could see how that would be really helpful for focusing too.
Oh, definitely. But even with a good system, the creative process can still be kind of daunting, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's scary. Yeah. There's always that fear of failure,
Totally.
Like, what if I don't live up to my own expectations?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Did any of the sources you read talk about that?
This is where Rick Rubin's insights are so helpful.
Oh, yeah, Rick Rubin.
Legendary music producer.
Yeah, he's worked with everyone.
Like from Johnny Cash to Adele.
Yeah, crazy.
And even he talks about feeling anxiety at the start of every project.
That's surprising to hear.
I know, right?
I mean, the guy's a legend. You'd think he'd be totally confident by now.
Yeah, but he says it's because he knows. Deep down, he's not really in control of the outcome.
Okay.
And he actually thinks that's a good thing.
Wait, how is that a good thing?
So Rubin's saying that trying to force a specific result can actually stifle your creativity.
I see, yeah.
So instead, he focuses on trusting the process, being open to surprises, and letting the work itself kind of guide him.
I like that.
He compares it to planting a seed.
Oh, okay.
You provide the right conditions,
right?
But you can't force it to grow on your schedule, right?
I never thought about it that way.
It's just about letting go a little.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
And you know what? This actually ties back to slow motion multitasking.
Oh, how so?
Well, maybe by having multiple projects going at once, you're less likely to get overly attached to any one outcome.
Right, because if one project isn't working, you've got others to keep your creative juices flowing.
Exactly. And that detachment, it can actually free you to take more risks.
And experiment more.
Yeah, totally.
That reminds me of something David Eagleman said.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
About how we often mistake the feeling of knowing for actual knowledge.
Right.
Like we think we have it all figured out.
Totally.
But really we don't.
Our brains are always filling in the gaps,
Yeah.
With assumptions and stories.
Right.
So we might think we know something, but there's always more to learn and discover.
That's a good reminder to stay humble.
It is.
So maybe this detachment that Rubin's talking about, it's a way to counteract that tendency.
Okay.
To think we know more than we do.
Right.
By acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. We open ourselves up to new possibilities.
Totally.
And unexpected connections.
Exactly.
It's all about embracing the not knowing.
Yeah.
And being okay with uncertainty.
Which honestly can be a little unsettling.
For sure.
But also kind of exciting.
I agree.
Because who knows what you might discover.
Right. It makes you wonder, what truths do we accept today that will seem ridiculous in a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember how doctors used to think that the brain stopped developing after age 25?
Yeah, and now we know that's totally wrong.
Exactly.
So it just goes to show you.
What's that?
We should always be questioning what we think we know.
Yeah, and be open to new information. I like that. Makes you wonder, like, if we all cultivate our creativity, do we not only unlock our own potential, but, like, also contribute to a more vibrant world?
Totally. It's like we're all part of this huge creative ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
And by nurturing our own creative sparks, we're actually contributing to the collective brilliance.
That's beautiful.
Thanks. I like that idea.
And it makes me think about people who have made, like, really significant contributions to humanity, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The scientists, the artists.
The inventors.
Yeah, the entrepreneurs who've changed the course of history.
Absolutely.
Did any of your sources talk about those people?
You know, it's really fascinating.
What is it?
When you look closely at these individuals, they often dedicated their lives to pursuing multiple passions.
Oh, okay.
Exploring, like, all these different avenues and making connections between fields that seem totally unrelated.
So they were weaving together like a tapestry of knowledge and creativity.
Exactly. Like Darwin with his earthworms and evolution, remember?
Right. Like, you wouldn't think those two things go together.
Exactly. But he saw the connections.
Yeah.
And it's through those intricate tapestries that they created something truly remarkable.
Okay.
Something that's stood the test of time, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the key to leaving a lasting legacy.
What is?
Embracing slow motion multitasking.
Okay.
Pursuing all your passions, all those different threads.
Yeah.
And just seeing where they lead.
Because it's often at the intersection of those threads that the most groundbreaking discoveries are made.
Exactly. It's like that saying, innovation happens at the edges.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, a good one.
So it's like, don't be afraid to explore those different paths.
Exactly.
See where those threads lead.
Who knows what you might find?
You might create some magic.
Speaking of magic, I think there's one last element of the creative process
that we haven't really talked about.
What's that?
Intuition.
Oh, intuition, yeah.
You know, that gut feeling?
Yeah.
That guides us toward the right path, even when we can't really explain why.
I totally believe in that.
Did your research say anything about intuition?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, tell me.
Intuition is like a vital part of the creative process, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the best ideas just come to you in a flash.
Yeah.
Like a sudden insight, you know? It's that aha experience.
Yeah, like a light bulb moment.
Exactly.
Those are the best.
It's like the solution just appears out of thin air.
It feels like magic.
It really does.
So we should, like, honor those moments.
Absolutely.
And trust our gut.
Yes. And follow those creative impulses wherever they lead.
Even if it seems a little crazy.
Sometimes the most logical approach, you know, isn't the best way to go when it comes to creativity.
I think
it's about listening to that inner voice. That creative spark.
That guides us through our full potential.
Exactly. Trust yourself.
So trusting our intuition. Embracing the unexpected.
Yes.
Being willing to experiment.
Get going.
And nurturing our curiosity. Yeah. Those are all essential ingredients for unlocking our creative potential.
They really.
It's like this beautiful blend of structure and spontaneity.
Okay.
Logic and intuition.
I love that.
Well, I think this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
Into slow motion multitasking.
So many great insights.
I feel like it's given me so much to think about.
Me too.
And it's definitely inspired me to embrace my own creative potential.
I love to hear that. I hope our listeners feel the same way.
Me too.
If you're listening out there and you want to spark your own creativity, remember, it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about enjoying the journey.
Right.
Embrace the mess, the chaos, the uncertainty.
Yes.
And let that creativity flow.
The world needs it.
The world needs your unique voice.
And your vision.
And your contribution.
That's what makes life so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
On this deep dive into the world of slow motion multitasking.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
On The Deep Dive.
Until then, keep creating.